question about Terry. When I often hear a lot about Terry story-wise, it's often said that there's some miscommunication with what actually happened in a situation to what he communicates to other individuals. I'm not trying to shit all over the guy, but I've heard this a handful of times throughout the years, and it seems to be a thing where he might misconstrue information when he's communicating back or when he leaves the area, which doesn't seem like a managerial thing that's right to do.
I
but
just
nevertheless,
think if you get to know him, and I got to work with him, and then, fast forward years later when I took over the developmental system, he was one of my coaches. I know he didn't care for that. He doesn't like to be. I think he always wanted that certain respect, and I think he got to deliver things. And let's face it, he's been known to talk to people differently, right? So that's just the way he is. He's very condescending at times. He can be very crass, and he can make you feel definitely less than. He's smarter than you, and this, and all these things. And it's not just a bagging on Terry, but that's just his delivery and his communication style. So he gets to tell his story his way. So it's naturally go, yep, I had to make this happen because Hugh Morris had a bad attitude and he wasn't going to do it, and I had to just put him in his place. Oh, that's not the case, but he's known to be very as we all are, as we all can be. We all can be challenging when we communicate, but he has that reputation of saying things inappropriately or spinning a different side to the story.
Yeah,
that's my experience.
It's almost. Yeah, no, I got you. It's almost like wanted to be proven as a manager, right? Like, by saying that, but also not realizing that the walls are pretty thin per se in any workplace.
Yes.
And that goes two ways, right? It may have helped him feel better. Like, I'm a manager. I handled the situation. Look at me. But it also has an impact on those. Did you have to explain this to Goldberg? Was there a conversation?
No.
Was everybody like how much was that being said? This misconception that you were a pain in the ass over this?
No, I don't think it was. I don't think it was said to anyone else. And everybody who knew me, Bill, I know, and I like. I don't want to be wrong when I say it. I know it came out later, whether it was Terry who shared that story or it was in Bill's book that Terry told him. You know what I mean? I don't know verbatim, so I don't want to be, I don't want to trap myself in a corner. It was never said to me. It was never spoken about amongst the boys. I mean, we did good business, and I think Bill was told something, and he goes with what he was told. But as far as Bill and I went, I mean, and I always kid around about this part. Like, I was number 1, and then I was number 7, and then I was number 32, and then I was at, like, I got to dance with Bill quite a lot in the streak, and Bill was freaking. When we did stuff, Bill go, hey, what do you want to do? I mean, I remember one night I was dropping the elbow to the floor from the ring, and Bill was staying there taking it. I mean, I enjoyed working with Bill. I mean, the only one thing that I would ever say is I feel like he took a shot at me was, I think he was talking to Stone Cold just a couple of years ago, and he said, Hugh didn't help me. I really had to get him up. He was heavy. Go back and look at that thing. Because go back and look at that. I've never dead weighted anybody or anything like that. So that's the one thing I always want to say, where'd that come from? But if that's how he felt, that's fine. But I prided myself on never. I did it to one superstar one time, and it was a big to do, and I'm sure we can talk about that some other time. But I never heard anything about it. I was flattered when I became part of Bill's first book. I think the chapter was Hugh's Next instead of Who's Next. And like I said, I see Bill every now and again. I've watched his career. I've watched what he can do, and I've watched what he's done. And, people can say whatever they want, but until you're in the ring with the man, or until you've danced with him and dealt with him, I can't comment on. I know he's a great family man. I can't comment on who he hangs out with. I can't comment on what he does in his spare time. All I can comment is on my relationship with him in the ring and outside the ring. He was always respectful. I was always respectful. I happen to think he's a hell of a guy. And back to the long-winded answer of the initial thing of what was it like, I consider it an honor. Like, if I have a place in wrestling history and that's it, yeah, that's pretty freaking cool.